This is about a baby. This is my life on the line.
It is. If he was to fall from a step like that, and maybe he did fall from a step like that, but a lot more happened before that.
Yeah, because y'all was sitting up here calling me a monster and shit, and I know I ain't no monster. I ain't did nothing.
Well, somebody did something, and you're
like I said, I had 9 kids in that house, in my kitchen, cooking for 9 kids when he got pushed. And I reacted like a parent should act.
Yep, I'm not disputing that at all. All right, it didn't happen when he fell off the damn 18-inch step, Brian.
Well, I know I didn't touch that baby, and I didn't do nothing wrong to that baby.
Then who did?
This is 37-year-old Bryant Rowland Jr., a resident of Kalamazoo, Michigan, and a father of 7 children. Bryant appears to be a dependable and honest guy. However, this is merely a facade. The reality is quite the opposite. On August 23, 2017, Bryant's wife, Brandy Rowland, was contacted by Desiree Downey to inquire if they could look after her 2 children for the night. 11-month-old Jason and his 5-year-old brother were Bryant's nephews. Around 11:30 a.m., Desiree finalized the plans with Bryant through text message to have him care for 2 of her 3 children while she ran errands in Lansing for a few hours. She dropped off the 2 children with Bryant and entrusted the 3rd child to his father. Bryant was the sole adult caregiver that night, watching over his 2 nephews, 11-month-old Jason and his older brother, at his home in the 700 block of West Vine Street in Kalamazoo. Additionally, he was responsible for his own 7 children while his wife was away at work. However, emergency services were called to the residence around 10:20 p.m. Officers arrived at the apartment shortly after 10:30 p.m. in response to a seizure experienced by baby Jason. He was transported to Bronson Methodist Hospital, where he tragically passed away 4 days later on August 27, 2017, succumbing to a series of injuries. This is where it started getting shady. Bryant gave 2 versions of the incident, however neither of them aligned with the evidence and the witnesses. As per the police report, a physician at Bronson stated that Jason had sustained multiple injuries inconsistent with a single short fall from the top of a 3-step staircase. The doctor noted that Jason had experienced non-accidental head trauma. This report straight away indicated negligence on Bryant's part and raised concerns about the possibility of abuse. Let's watch how detectives handle an alleged child abuser in this interrogation.
Roland? Do you remember me? No, not a trick question. Myself and Bill were the guys that talked to you last time, probably
months ago.
Well, yeah, whenever, I don't even remember when it was. I can't remember the exact date off the top of my head. So, did you get a chance to chat with Bill yet or no?
Nope.
Did these guys tell you what you're here for?
No, they did not.
They've
I
not.
just was down there reporting, and all of a sudden, police was there.
Okay, where were you reporting at?
Right there behind the county building at my probation office.
Okay. Oh, what do you want paper for?
For loneliness assault.
Okay. Was that something that happened since you and I talked the first time? I don't remember you being on paper.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, are you still living at the same house? Where are you staying at?
I can't, Alamo,
Okay.
1509,
Okay.
apartment 3.
Okay. 15 of the Fox Ridge?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you got some questions for me as to, why you're here.
Mm.
I got some questions for you. Did you get a chance yet to get anything to drink or?
Will these do?
Yeah.
All right. I'll get you some water. I'll be right back in here.
Okay.
I'll
Need some water or something, Bernard?
It's Brian.
Brian.
Oh, sorry. Let's say Bernard. Need some water?
Well,
Well, that's right. That's exactly what I did. You need some water? Something to drink? Water?
Get a
Okay.
cup of water.
All right, I'll grab my notepad. I'll be right in.
Okay. The other bald guy. But he knows your cousin. Is that?
I guess, because he keep calling me Bernard, and that's not me.
Who's Bernard?
My cousin,
Cousin Bernard.
Roland.
Okay. No. All right. Well, I'll get you food and water. I guess I'll wait for them so we don't repeat ourselves. So, what else been going on? You been working anywhere or anything?
Nope, just got released from the county 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. You been in there for how long?
almost 4 months.
Okay. On the felonious assault, have you said? And now you're on probation for it? What was the deal with that case?
Me and my wife.
On August 23, 2017, the night of the incident, both the detectives interviewed Bryant for the first time. Almost 2 months after the incident, the second interview takes place in this interrogation room based on some inconsistencies that were detected. There are two things to keep in mind. First, the forensic reports didn't match Bryant's narrative. Second, Bryant's own son, who he claimed was the sole witness of Jason's so-called accident, denied witnessing anything. In the last part of the clip, Bryant mentions being in probation for the charges of domestic abuse in a very subtle way. However, his behavior was not so subtle. He kept his posture relaxed, as if the charges meant nothing. He had a history of violence that was known to the people who knew him. During the investigation, police spoke with a witness who mentioned Bryant's violent side. She mentioned witnessing the way he treated his children, often hitting them and abusing them in public. So it's safe to say that the man sitting in this chair is very different from how he wants to portray himself. Let's dig in deeper.
We got physical and I got locked up for it.
Gotcha. Oh, is that why you're not living over there anymore, probably?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's still staying there?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay.
And bracelet hurt my dang leg.
What, they got you on GPS tether?
Yep.
Do you gotta pay for that? Who paid?
Mm-hmm. They ain't told me I had to pay nothing yet, so.
Now, how does that work? Do you have a thing at your house where you're supposed to not be within X amount of feet, or?
Nope, all I got is just a charger at the house, just a charger.
So you can go wherever, there's no...
They monitor it over there at the probation office. I only get out from 8 to 12.
Over on Haley Street talking?
Yep.
But there's no, you can go wherever as far as within your house.
You're welcome.
Stuff like that. All right, guys.
Oh, you want? No, go ahead, John.
You're good.
Give me a shout if you need anything else.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome.
So no restrictions on where you can or can't go?
Yeah, I can't go to my wife's house.
Oh, okay. Because I was just asking him if he knew what was going on here. He said he was at his PO's office and they brought him down here.
Okay.
So
I'll
figuring out what he had going on with. He said he's on probation, a tether, GPS tether from a different case.
Okay.
That probation thing. So we'll have to.
Yep.
So anyways, like I said, I know you got some questions for me as to why you're here. And Bill too. Like I said, did you remember Bill?
Do you remember him from the first night?
That's why I asked him. He said he didn't.
No.
No?
Okay. I guess I'm.
Maybe it's the voice with me.
No, your face, you can't forget.
My face. Well, I was nice to, wasn't I?
Yeah, a little bit,
A little bit there? Alright. Well, you want me to green card or
Here, go ahead. Yeah.
are you
No,
no? Go ahead. Hit it.
Like I was saying, with you being here, all right, and Bill and I talking to you, you got brought to your probation officer. You went in there, what, to check in like you normally would? Is that correct?
Yeah, I didn't even go see her. I went to go see my Swift and Shirt lady today, and
What's that?
for it's a new program that they can did where I got to call every day and drop and take classes and stuff.
Okay.
Like a deferment type thing? Is that if you don't mess up within X amount of time, then they get it off of your...
No, it don't come off my record, but
What's the point of doing it then? They make you check in and do all this stuff, there's no benefit?
I get off, supposed to get off in 18 months.
Oh, you get off soon?
Okay.
Okay, so that's what the...
But
Okay.
and if I f up, then I go to prison.
Okay.
So,
Oh. All right, so you're there doing that. Police come pick you up,
yep.
and no conversation. Go ahead.
Nope, my probation officer came in and was like, I need you to stand up and do what the officer said. And I was like, okay, well, what's going on? She was like, well, I can't tell you, but I come and see you in the county in like a day or two. So that's where I thought I was headed to. Like, she put out a violation on me. So
Okay. All right. Well, we can go over that as far as what we have on that. But like I said, I have some questions for you. You probably have some questions for me as to why you're here. With that in mind, obviously, you didn't come here on your own free will, right? You got brought down here by the police in handcuffs. So whenever I talk to someone that's down here, it comes up against, you know what I mean? Like the first time you came here, you walked in. This time, since someone brought you here, I'm going to advise you your rights. You understand that? Okay, you've been read your rights before. Is that something you're familiar with? All right. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk with a lawyer, have him or her present with you before or during any questioning. If you want a lawyer but cannot afford to hire one will be appointed to represent you at public expense. Do you understand each of these rights that I've explained to you?
Yes, I do.
So far, Brian has been able to keep a straight face and hinted quite a few times that as far as the possible charges are concerned, he assumes it came from his wife for violating his probation rules. Although Brian attempts to be perceived as nonchalant, his leg movement suggests otherwise. In terms of the detectives, the first detective initially establishes the power dynamic in the room, while the second detective takes a more engaging approach. Initially, in the first few minutes of the interrogation, Brian is left uncertain as to why he's there, as they do not provide him with the reason behind his arrest. This is often strategically done to increase the anxiety in suspects.
And you said you're living at Fox Ridge, you're on tether, you're not working right now. That's all correct? Is there a good phone number to get a hold of you at?
Yeah, my cell phone's down there, but I just got the phone, so I ain't got.
You don't know the number. Okay.
I don't know the number to it right now.
Okay. All right. Well, with this in mind, you willing to talk to me now, answer some questions? All right. There's some stuff you don't know.
Was it a yes? Yeah, yes?
Yeah, some questions.
Okay.
If there's something you don't know, then you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing out of the ordinary here. As far as if you don't know something, you don't know something. I'm not trying to trick you. All right. Bill, what do you got there?
Well, do you know why you're in custody right now? Okay.
All I know is she just said she put out a probation hold on me.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Well, the reason for the probation hold is there has been a warrant issued for your arrest. Okay. I've never lied to you in here. I don't claim that. John's not going to lie to you in here either. Okay. But there's been a warrant issued for your arrest. Okay. For felony murder. Okay.
Note the change in Bryant's posture and expression as the detective mentions the charges behind his arrest. Bryant had earlier assumed that he had been marked innocent by the detective after his first interview when the incident happened. Thus, this sudden arrest based on the charges of felony murder has caught him off guard. However, he quickly gets himself together and laughs it off. He attempts to establish the power dynamic in his favor and maintain an aggressive approach, which is quite concerning when it comes to cases involving minors. Typically, individuals involved in harmful activities, especially against children, often strive to project an image of innocence and gentleness. They maintain a calm demeanor, aiming to appear as individuals without a history of violence or abuse who are cooperative with detectives. Take, for instance, John T. Harris, a 26-year-old from Jacksonville, Florida, charged with first-degree murder and child neglect in the tragic death of 5-year-old Zakaria. During his interrogation, he portrayed himself generously, adopting a soft demeanor. Check out the full video, link attached in the description box.
You gotta be kidding me.
No.
You gotta be kidding me.
So that's why we're here. Okay. There's some questions that you might. This is your last opportunity, Bryant, to get your side out there. Otherwise, you've heard me say this before. Okay. You don't want this boy's autopsy and the pictures of his autopsy to say your side of the story, because you're going to end up being the loser. All right?
Okay.
Something happened that day, and I can tell you right now what the doctor said. The amount of injury that boy had, and I have all the paperwork right here. Look, at the actual autopsy is dang near longer than the actual police report, okay? And the amount of injury, and I had separate interviews with these doctors, okay? The amount of injury that this boy sustained was astronomical. And it's absolutely impossible that the injury that he sustained in your house that day came from falling down an 18-inch step.
In the interrogation of Bryant, careful observations reveal distinct behavioral cues and strategic considerations. Initially, Bryant's laughter upon learning about the charges of felony murder is indicative of a defense mechanism. He attempts to project an image of fearlessness, potentially as a means to convince others, including the detectives, that he is not intimidated by the serious charges he faces. The detectives, particularly Detective Stolzenberg, observe Bryant's challenging demeanor. Recognizing Bryant's arrogance and rough behavior as potential defenses, Detective Stolzenberg decides not to adopt a slow or cautious approach. This strategic choice is rooted in the understanding that allowing Bryant to firmly cling to his defenses could complicate the interrogation process. Instead, Stolzenberg immediately takes an assertive approach by pointing out the evidence stacked against Bryant. This approach aims to disrupt Bryant's defensive posture early in the interrogation. By directly addressing the evidence, Stolzenberg signals to Bryant that attempts to deflect or deny may not be as effective. This strategic move is a calculated effort to challenge Bryant's narrative and his behavior from the outset, setting the tone for a more proactive and potentially impactful interrogation process.
I told you my story.
I know it, and then it changed. I know it, and then it changed.
Yeah, because y'all was sitting up here calling me a fucking monster and shit, and I know I ain't no fucking monster. I ain't did nothing.
Well, somebody did something, and you're
Like I said, I had 9 kids in that house, in my kitchen, cooking for 9 kids when he got pushed. And I reacted like a parent should act.
Yep, I'm not disputing that at all. I'm not disputing that part at all.
Here and I got y'all telling me I'm all types of monsters and shit.
I'm not disputing that what you did was wrong there at all. If he was to fall from a step like that, and maybe he did fall from a step like that, but a lot more happened before that, Brian. A lot more. And then...
Man, I'm not the one that y'all need to be looking at. There's all types of shit all on Facebook. My wife people sending my wife messages and shit talking about how this girl is poisoning her fucking kids.
There was no... Listen, here's the autopsy. There's no damn poison in the body here. Okay, that was done. That was all.
Yeah,
toxicology came back. There's no poison.
Yeah, and from what CPS is telling my wife, that shit, the autopsy really ain't saying about me, that I did nothing.
Well, the autopsy doesn't specifically...
I know it don't say, oh, well, Brian Rowland...
No, it doesn't. The autopsy is a separate report. That it doesn't prove, it doesn't show guilt, or it doesn't try to steer anything any way. All it does is report facts that it sees. Okay, that's it. Now, like we told you that night, you're probably under a lot of stress at the time. You're watching all these damn kids,
and
you got
I'm
a lot
gonna do something to a baby.
Well, you've done it before.
I've done what before? What have I done?
Like 13 years ago when you were babysitting your girlfriend's child while she was at work. You beat the hell out of the
I ain't
kid.
beat no hell out of no
I had the pictures.
Man, I don't care about them motherfucking pictures. I have witnesses right there in that fucking house that sat up there and justified it. That's why when the detectives talked to me, there wasn't nothing else brought up on that because they talked to all the witnesses. I didn't do nothing to that child.
Okay.
She was just mad because I didn't want to with her no more. That's all that was. And she sat up there and lied.
So she beat her own kid?
That same thing she could sit up there and told her people and all her family.
So she beat her own kid?
And said that shit. Man, I ain't did nothing to no fucking kid.
But
bullshit, man. I ain't even.
That's fine. I'm not accusing you of that. I'm just saying what the report.
You just did.
No, I'm telling you what the report.
You beat the shit out the kid 13 years ago.
Well, you're right. You're right. I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that. Okay.
I did not touch that kid not one time. My grandmother and auntie and my older cousin.
Well,
everybody was in that house and everybody set up.
Brian, somebody did while you were watching the kid. Okay.
I didn't do nothing.
Okay, that's fine. Let's move on to this one then. Okay. Now this one's a little more serious because the kid's dead. All right.
In the interrogation, Detective Stolzenberg skillfully highlights the severity of little Jacine's injuries, marked as non-accidental trauma in the autopsy report, suggesting Bryant's involvement. In response, Bryant adopts an aggressive stance, exhibiting defensiveness with each incriminating detail, evident in his elevated pitch and confrontational posture. This heightened defensiveness suggests that Bryant becomes increasingly resistant as the detective shows him that they are already aware of who is responsible for this tragedy. An escalation happens when Detective Stolzenberg introduces Bryant's history of violence, dating back 13 years. Rather than showing remorse or an attempt to explain the change in behavior, Bryant's aggression intensifies. Ironically, he seems unaware that his violent and aggressive responses in the interrogation are working against him. This lack of self-awareness highlights a potential blind spot in Bryant's perception, as his actions contradict the image he might be attempting to project.
Yes, it is.
Now, I don't want to be sitting here and argue with you. I want to sit in here and find out why. Okay?
You got my story from 6 months ago.
Yep.
And that's what happened.
So, something more happened. Something else happened. Because the kid... The medical report states there's no way he arrived at your house with those injuries. It's impossible, Brian. It's impossible. He sustained those injuries after he arrived at your home at 3 p.m. Okay?
Okay, well, if that's what it proved, then the prosecutor been had that autopsy report, like almost 4 months? Why all of a sudden now? Because like
They wanna
they
make
said
sure
up there,
everything's
like CPS sat up there and had told me, not this new CPS, not that Michelle.
I can't control how long it takes them to review something.
Like,
That's not my
like she
control.
sat up there and said that the autopsy wasn't saying nothing, that it was coming down to
Sure.
the medical examiners.
Sure. And I
And
can't
I ain't
control
doing nothing,
I can't
so-
control how long a report is being reviewed at the prosecutor's office. John and I can't control any of that. Okay? We can only control what we can only control. Just like you can only control what you can only control. And you have a little bit of control right now.
Because I always got control. I deal with 7
I
kids
mean,
all
in your
fucking
fate
time.
here. A little bit of control on your fate here. Okay?
For what? You trying to send me to prison for something that I
I'm
didn't
not
do?
trying to send you to prison. The last thing that anybody wants as a detective to do is to send the wrong person to jail. It's a absolute
Yeah.
worst
so-
thing. What do I benefit from it? Nothing. What do I benefit? What would we benefit
don't
from
know.
doing it? Nothing.
I
You think
really
that we
don't
get a
know,
bonus
but
if something
what
goes
am I
in
supposed to
prison?
do? Sit up here and tell y'all a fucking lie that I did something to this baby and I didn't do nothing? When I'm sitting up here in my kitchen cooking for 9 kids when this happened?
I'm not saying that it wasn't. It didn't happen right then. It was a series of things that occurred. Okay. All right. It didn't happen when he fell off the damn 18-inch step, Brian. There's no way around that. It did not happen while you were cooking food, and he got supposedly pushed by his 4-year-old brother. Didn't happen. It's not feasible.
Well, I know I didn't touch that baby and I didn't do nothing wrong to that baby.
Then who did?
And that's a good question because I didn't do nothing.
But it happened when he was there.
Okay, like I said, I had 9 kids in that house that day. 9 of them. I'm cooking for 9 kids. I didn't. All the kids that was there can tell you that was running around the house can say.
7, not 9.
No, it was 7 because I had
No,
I
7.
had my 7 there, and then plus Jason and his brother.
It was a total of 7 because 2 of yours weren't there.
No,
Yes.
no. One. Oh no. Matter of fact, there was a total of 8 because my oldest son, which is 13, he wasn't there, but the rest of them was there.
All from 12 on down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, there wasn't nobody missing but 1 kid. So actually, not 9. It was 8 kids.
It's fine.
It's fine.
The
Doesn't
one
matter.
number doesn't matter, but here's the thing. The kid arrives, he's fine. Okay?
Man, when that kid arrived,
Listen to John. Listen to
that
John.
kid was not fine, man. That kid,
What was wrong? What was wrong?
the kid was already shaking like he was cold and all this. Shit. We can sit up there and told you that.
In the course of the interrogation, Detective Stolzenberg persistently emphasizes the crucial timeline detail that Jason was healthy without any injuries when dropped off at 3 p.m. on August 23, 2017. This repeated emphasis serves as a strategic move to elicit specific responses and gauge Bryant's reactions. The consistent pressure from the detective has a visible impact as Bryant becomes increasingly agitated. Bryant's defensive response is noteworthy, as he vehemently denies any involvement in the injuries sustained by little Jason. Instead, he attempts to shift blame onto the child's mother. This divisionary tactic aligns with a common pattern observed among perpetrators of cases involving minors. By deflecting responsibility and projecting the blame onto someone else, in this case the mother, Bryant aims to create a narrative that positions him as a more bystander caught in an unfortunate situation. He also emphasizes the fact that he was a father to 7 kids who were healthy and fine. However, it's possible that parents with a higher number of children experience increased stress, which can lead to instances of outrage or neglect. According to the Child Welfare Information Gateway, factors such as having younger parents, belonging to a family with a higher number of children, and being in a family with a child under age 1 are also identified as predictors of neglect.
And you know that me and my cousin and everybody, and you don't, but you don't want to believe him.
You talked to his cousin.
What?
Detective.
What? Y'all don't want to believe it because he's my family or something? Like I'm just gonna have somebody's life up.
You
This
think
is about a
we
baby.
didn't document that report?
This is about a baby. This is my fucking life on the line.
It is.
So what?
John, talk to your cousin.
Now, if this would have been a grown man or something, then like, we probably would have had problems. But this is a baby. As much as I love kids in this
And
fucking...
you know what? The doctors are gonna say on the stand, there is no way that this kid could have lasted 6 hours.
Well, how did he do
Arriving,
it? Well, how did he do it? Because it seemed like he was fine until he got pushed off the stairs.
It happened inside of your home.
Okay, and so you telling me there wasn't no time from the time that he arrived until all of a sudden when he got pushed off the stairs, what, about a half hour later, that's when he started sitting up there having the so-called seizure, and I didn't even know that that's what the that was, because he was sleeping and he was stretching like he was like a baby stretch when they move. So I didn't know what the was going on. So you telling me that it couldn't have lasted that long? So whatever happened, this should have happened like earlier that day, right? So whenever this shit was going on with him, it shouldn't have happened, right?
I wish I knew because
the only thing that I know is that he got pushed off the stairs.
But there was so much more than that. It's not how it happened.
In the interrogation, Bryant's behavior and demeanor emerge as potentially damning evidence against him. His psychological profile suggests characteristics of narcissism, where his primary concern seems to be self-preservation, displaying a callous disregard for the well-being of the 11-month-old baby, Jason. The phrase, "This isn't about a baby, this is about my life," uttered by Bryant, elicits discomfort among the two detectives. This statement starkly reveals Bryant's skewed priorities and a lack of empathy toward the infant's life. The observation indicates a troubling aspect of Bryant's character, his apparent indifference about the baby's death and the justice he deserves. Given that he is the father of 7 children, such a self-centered and callous attitude is not only undesirable, but deeply concerning. The detective's discomfort in response to Bryant's prioritization of his own life over the tragic incident involving the baby underlines the stark contrast in values and highlights a significant hurdle in their pursuit of justice. This psychological insight into Bryant's mindset becomes a crucial element for the detectives to navigate as they seek to unravel the truth behind the baby's injuries.
Right, he arrives. He's fine, all right? When he's there, your cousin's there, his girl's there. He's fine for a while. He is a normal baby. At some point throughout the course of that day when he's there with you, throughout those hours, something happens to him beyond just falling down the stairs. Kids fall, kids get pushed. I mean, you got, how many kids your own? 7? They don't die from that. Not from an 18-inch, you know what I'm saying? They don't die from an 18-inch step. So what more happened between that time frame?
Like I said, nothing.
There's pieces of the puzzle that are not being filled here. I mean, what it comes down to is the kids in your care, the medical doctor that reviews the case, reviews the autopsy, and looks it over, says, okay, well, this is something that's out of the scope of that, you know, the baby falling 18 inches. This is actual, real physical damage that happened to this kid. So you can't fill in the blanks as to what happened. I mean, it's just kind of hard to swallow, you know what I'm saying? It's a hard one to say, well, you know, he's got a lot of kids in there. I get that there's a lot of kids, and that's a ton of stress, but you got to know what's going on.
My kids don't stress me out.
Not 8 kids wouldn't stress. Come on, man.
I couldn't do it, I'll be honest with you.
No way.
There's a lot of
I
children.
love my babies too.
I don't doubt that.
We do all types of stuff together.
Right.
We got more fun than anything.
And most people love their kids, of
And
course.
that's just like
I'm not saying you don't.
I can babysit other people kids, and you can ask. They can, just like when this go to court and all that, they all gonna be there to tell you, hey, I watched their kids. They never said I sat up there and got loud with them, got physical with none of my kids, no nothing. Cause after this happened, everybody got to questioning their kids. And it all came back, hey, my kid ain't said you this, my kid ain't said you that.
So what was different about this day?
It was an ordinary day to me.
Until what happened, though?
And till he got pushed, and I called his mom and told him what happened.
Okay.
And she was like, oh, well, get him ready because I'm finna come get him anyway.
What did he act like after he got pushed? When you went out there to tend to him, what did he act like?
And he was sitting up there like, he was like hesitating to scream because it hurted so bad. So I made him a bottle, and we sat there in the chair for a minute. He drunk some of that damn bottle, and we sat up there and I was rocking him like this, and he started dozing off. I laid him on my bed, went in there to finish making the food and to fix the rest of the kid's plate. And when I came back, I said, let me move him so he don't fall off this bed. And I scooted him up, and that's when he flinched like a kid will do it when you wake him up out their sleep or something. Mm-hmm. And I put him in the middle of my bed, and I made everybody else plates. Then I went back and got him and put him in the car seat, and that's when he started doing that. And my wife was on the way home. And she came in and noticed that it was seizures.
Why didn't you call 911?
Because I didn't know.
You didn't know.
During the interrogation, Bryant introduces a narrative claiming that the baby hesitated to scream out of pain, a statement that, if accurate, would raise concerns about the severity of Jason's condition. However, the detectives quickly identify a critical inconsistency. If the baby was in genuine pain, Bryant's failure to immediately call 911 becomes highly negligent. This observation highlights a lapse in Bryant's reasoning and raises questions about the authenticity of his account. Moreover, the detectives, particularly Detective Mason, keenly point out the inconsistencies in Bryant's narrative. Bryant's attempt to adhere to his false version of events, attributing Jason's injuries to a fall from an 18-inch staircase, underscores the significance of the detective's persistent push for the truth. These observations show crucial insights into Bryant's actions and awareness during the incident. The detective's scrutiny not only exposes potential fabrications, but also echoes concerns about negligence and a lack of understanding, raising doubts about the credibility of Bryant's account. Additionally, the linkage to the detective's earlier suspicion of Bryant having an aggressive outburst suggests a pattern of behavior that requires further exploration in the pursuit of uncovering the actual circumstances surrounding Jason's injuries.
I thought he was just stretching, and my wife came in and she was like, Junior, how long has he been doing it? I said, about good. I just put him in his car seat, so he did it as soon as I put him in his car seat. And she had just walked through the door.
I'm trying to rationalize my head. I'm trying to envision myself. This is just really hard to believe.
I know I didn't put my hands on that baby. I didn't do nothing wrong to that baby.
Okay, so now what about when you fell down the steps with him?
Okay.
Explain that. What time? What point did that happen? How many hours before?
Earlier today? That was what, like, maybe an hour or so after he got there.
But while we're just discussing all this, that didn't come up at all. When John asked you, well, what happened? Why didn't you bring that up?
Because I figured you already told everybody. I told you the story.
Right.
All right, but I'm just asking. I'm asking you. I don't care if you told Bill. Like, I'm just trying to figure out
Because
what
when
else.
he fell, he wasn't red. He ain't had no red mark. He ain't had no lumps, no bruises, no nothing on him.
So he fell down. How many? No, I'm remembering your steps. They go up and then they go up again. What parts did you fall down?
The first slight right there.
So like right when you walk out of your house, your bedroom there, that first portion.
Yes.
And then where did you go?
Earlier in the day.
Did you go over onto the grass then, or the dirt?
No,
Or you just.
the balancer cause.
Oh, okay. So you fall to there, and how were you holding him at the time when you fall?
I was holding him like you're supposed to hold him. I had him one arm like this, and he was holding on to my shirt like this.
Okay. And you just tripped and fell.
No.
Well, how
I
did you
just
fall?
passed out.
Oh, from what?
I got a habit of passing out.
I did not know that. All right, so you pass out.
My body gets overheated and
In the initial interview after the incident, Bryant had provided a different narrative, stating that he fell down the stairs while holding Jason. When detectives confront him with this inconsistency during the subsequent interrogation, there is a noticeable change in his expression. This moment marks a direct confrontation where the detectives reveal their awareness of the conflicting information provided by Bryant. It's a classic technique employed by detectives to trap suspects with their own stories and the misinformation they create. The change in Bryant's expression suggests a moment of realization or discomfort as he is confronted with the inconsistency in his accounts. Detectives strategically use this technique to challenge the credibility of Bryant's version of events, making it clear that they are scrutinizing the details closely. By pointing out the conflicting narratives, the detectives aim to create pressure and elicit more accurate information from Bryant, who may now feel compelled to address the disparities in his story.
You wake up. I mean, how long are you passed out for?
not that long, because I don't know, because my son was waking me up.
Okay. Which son is this?
My 5-year-old.
Okay. So you pass out, you're not sure how long you're out for.
Couldn't have been that long.
You have an estimate? I mean, I have no idea. I have no gauge of this. Are we talking 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours?
Maybe a possible of a minute.
Okay. When you wake up, what's the baby doing?
Crying.
Okay. And I guess, do you have clarity at that point in time as to what the heck's going on or anything? Or
I sat there and it was started coming back, but I can hear him crying.
okay.
So I picked him up, examined him. He didn't have no lumps, no bruises on him, no nothing.
Where was he laying in relation to you on the
Like
landing?
up under him. When we fell, it's like I landed on top of him a little bit.
Okay. So when you woke up from falling, when you come to, when your 5-year-old wakes you up, how are you laying? What position? On your stomach, on your back, on your side?
Like my stomach.
Okay, so you're on your
So I
stomach.
was on top of him.
So the baby's underneath you, or around where? Would you say stomach,
About
knees?
in the stomach area.
Okay.
Cause my legs and shit was all on the balancer.
What's the balancer?
Banister.
Oh, the
Yeah.
railing. Okay, gotcha. So your legs are up on that. Baby's underneath you. You hear him crying when you wake up, right? Is that correct? And then he doesn't have anything, no bruises, no nothing?
He wasn't bleeding, no nothing.
It's just wood, right? If I remember correctly? No splinters, no nothing.
No.
And you had nothing, no injury.
No, I had a little scrape. That was it. And
Okay.
it wasn't even a scrape.
Do you remember that first
Mark.
night we talked to you in here? The night it happened. You never, ever, ever, never mentioned that. We asked if even that even happened. John and I asked you, did you fall down the stairs? Did Jason fall down the stairs? You said no. No, it didn't happen. I mean, that's why we're struggling here with this. That's why. Okay. You feel me? We're struggling with it because let's say he did fall down the steps like that. Okay. That's not going to do it either. That won't. It won't.
That's just like you sat up there and told me
Yep.
that I could throw him.
Yeah.
And I measured it. A 17 and a half feet. I could launch him straight into that wall full force.
What's 17 and a half? What's that?
From where you told me I could where the incident happened in my house. The day when you
Down the hallway? Down the hall.
You said I can launch him down that hallway full force and he hit that wall and still not sustain them injuries.
There's no way he would hit that wall with such force if you launched him down that 17 feet. He would
So
lose
what
momentum.
else? He didn't have
He would
no
lose
bumps on him.
momentum before he hit the wall.
But I'm saying he didn't have no bumps on him, he ain't had no breaks on him, he ain't had no knots on his head, no nothing. So what could somebody have did to this baby for him to be like that?
Well,
But y'all think
there's
it happened in my
numerous
house.
things. There's numerous
But
things.
evidently there was something else going on with it because he didn't have no lumps, no bruises, no nothing on him.
There's numerous things that could have happened.
Like what?
Numerous things. Could have been shaken.
Okay, but I heard that they did something on the spinal cord and there wasn't no...
That's not true. His retinas were detached from his eyes.
But that's why they also did something to his spinal cord to see if there was shaking there too, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. Where did you hear this at? Tell me. Talk to me.
From CPS.
Okay, I do.
The same ones that's been involved with y'all and talked to the prosecutors.
I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with CPS with what they said. I don't know. But the information you just said, that they can tell if a baby has been shaken or not by looking at the spinal cord.
That's why they said that they was having something else done on his spinal cord to tell if
Something else done on the spinal cord.
to tell if he was shaking.
Okay. Well, that's done through the eyes. Okay. And his retinas were detached from his eyes.
And you telling me out of all them kids that was running around the house, ain't nobody seen nothing.
There are also 2 other injuries that was explained to me by the doctor. I'm not even going to try to even fake pronounce what these injuries are, okay? But there was 2 injuries. There was letters A through G, okay? For example, I don't even know if it went through G. It might have been more than G or before the letter G, okay? But on the board, okay? We pulled it up on the board in front of me, so I'll tell you how many letters there were. It's past G. Okay, there's 2. The one goes to K. Actually, one goes to I, and the other one goes to G. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Out of this first group, there were 2 letters in here. Okay, and right here, 2 letters that the doctor pointed out that said that it is only occurred not only in Kalamazoo, but in the entire North America, okay? It has only occurred as a result of abuse. 2 of these letters, of these injuries, okay? And I'm not going to try to tell you which ones they are, because I don't know. I don't remember. But they don't see it in car accidents. They don't see it in industrial accidents, farm accidents. They don't see it in anything, or dog bites. When a dog mauls a kid, they don't see it in anything except abuse cases causing death. That's it. That is it. And that's fact. So, something's got to happen here. You see where we're coming from? How can we not act on it?
Yeah, but y'all, the abuse is coming from my house. But why is all my kids okay? Why is all them kids okay? And I've been dealing with them way longer than the other kids. And can have other kids over there babysitting. All types of kids. Before this accident.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, why ain't
I
that
can't speak for the other kids. That's why I'm asking you. What's different
That's
about
what's
this kid?
crazy.
What happened different this day that they made?
That's what I'm saying. I don't put my hands on them.
Well, I guess let me ask you a simple question then. This is a very simple one. Why did you say that you and him did not, neither he nor you fell down those stairs that day, the first time we talked to you, and then you changed it? Why did you change that?
In the course of the interrogation, detectives delve into the second narrative provided by Bryant, where he claims to have fallen down the stairs while holding little Jason. The detectives strategically ask more detailed questions, aiming to uncover potential inconsistencies in Bryant's account. This meticulous approach is a common tactic to test the reliability of a suspect's narrative and identify any discrepancies. In a significant turn, the detectives share a crucial detail from the autopsy report: the detachment of the retina from Jason's eyes. This specific information serves as a powerful revelation, suggesting that the injuries sustained by Jason go beyond what could be attributed solely to a fall down the stairs. The detachment of the retina indicates a level of force or trauma that extends beyond the scope of a typical accident. Despite the gravity of this revelation, Bryant persists in denying his involvement. His continued denial, in the face of specific details from the autopsy report, becomes a point of interest for the detectives. It raises questions about Bryant's willingness to acknowledge the severity of the situation and the potential implications of the injuries sustained by Jason.
So that day, was the baby crying excessively?
That baby ain't never cried since he came to my house. You can even ask my wife when the time she was there babysitting. The baby ain't never cried. We have to sit up there and figure out what he wants, if he's hungry or want a bottle or something. The baby would sit in the thing and just sit like this. He would never lay down, no nothing. And then you talk about a Bruce, and then for how you bring your kids over to a stranger house, your other son don't want to come upstairs with some strangers, and you smacking him all this head in his face to get him to go with some strangers. But I'm the one that's abusing the kids though, right? Ain't nobody looking at none of that. Everybody pointing the finger at me because she probably did this, then dropped them off onto me, and then the little that did have to react to all that.
We went over that.
No, we already talked to that's impossible. It's impossible. Sorry. I'm sorry. It didn't happen that way. That fall didn't trigger something else in the brain of this child. Didn't happen.
And we asked.
That was specifically
that was one of the first things we did. Said, hey, is it possible this could be pre-existing?
And then that fall triggered it. No. Sorry.
So all these people that you say can vouch for you about, never raising your hand, never doing this and that, they can't vouch for you this exact time. They weren't there with you, right? And again, another thing that's hard to believe, home alone with 8 kids, not getting stressed.
Not possible.
Don't buy it. I mean, you're a human.
Y'all just don't know me.
No, I don't know anyone that wouldn't get stressed with 8 kids, man. Come on.
And you're in the house all day. All day.
I don't know anyone that wouldn't get stressed about that. There's a difference between getting stressed and going hog wild, but to say that you don't even get stressed about it, it's just a little hard to believe. So when we present this report, it's already been presented to the prosecutor. When this case gets put in front of a jury or the judge, all right, there's a jury of your peers sitting there. This child is fine when he gets dropped off. Your cousin attests to that. Girlfriend attests to that. Mom attests to that. You say it falls 18 inches, and or possibly even down the stairs with it, but you forgot about it. Don't know how it died. What do you think the jury's going to think about that? I mean, do you think they're just going to say, no, he didn't have anything to do with it?
I'm not saying they don't, but like I said, I got a whole lot of witnesses to prove my character, though. The type of person that
Character
I am.
witnesses are only good, they only take you so far. When we're presented, and that's, what Bill and I look at, we talk to you, and we got your side of the story, and we wanted to believe you,
That's
of
just
course.
like I can have family members over there, they can tell you.
We wanted to believe you. We have to go
Everybody
off the
sit up there.
facts that are given to us in the case, right? And the facts are you're there with the kid, and the doctor's saying, hey, not possible the baby died from that. This is how the baby died. It's just the science behind it. So when that's presented in front of a jury, I mean, how do you expect them not to believe that? How can, I mean, we see a lot of different weird stuff, and so we can kind of, make some leaps of judgment, but, when you're talking to, a jury of people who don't normally deal with this kind of stuff, how does it explain to them that a baby dies from this? How can you rationalize? You know what I mean?
I don't know, but I do believe that there was another case of something like this where the dad had his daughter, had just got his daughter. She died while she was in his custody. He go to prison for it. They say, oh, well, this happened and that happened and this happened to the baby. Come to find out, he get released because he didn't do the shit. Yeah, they come to find out. They can't find out that all that was already done. So how do this man go to prison for it and then come back to find out that he was telling the truth?
I don't know the particulars on that case. We have no idea.
The baby was in his custody. Said
Listen,
he beat the baby.
I have no idea on these injuries.
Said he beat the baby. Said he even molested that baby. And then all of a sudden they come back that he was telling the truth about.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I can't
without,
answer that. I didn't investigate that.
Without seeing that, I don't know. It's impossible to say.
I can just tell you what.
That's damn near like the same case that I'm in.
I can tell you what medical
His baby got dropped off to him. All of a sudden, his baby died in his custody. He got in trouble for that. He got found not guilty after he been to prison for it.
You can probably look at 500 murder cases, and every single case can have a different set of circumstances. Just because it's, say you look at 500 murders where a husband killed a wife. There's going to be differences. There'll be similarities, of course, but there's a difference in every single case. There's differences.
Sure.
Manner of death, cause of death, what led up to it. There's just lots of differences. You know what I mean?
But I'm sitting up here on the chopping block right now for some shit that I really didn't do. And me and my family going through all of this shit, and I didn't do nothing. Nothing.
And I'm trying to rationalize, man. I am trying to rationalize what else could have happened.
That's what I don't get. Because did nothing happen. I didn't do nothing to the baby. And then for him to sit up there and say the force that was done to him, I know damn well what damn one of my kids could have did something like that. And then for you to sit up there and say a grown man like me can launch this baby 17 and a half feet down the wall and he hit that wall full force and still not sustain them injuries, well, what the fuck did I do to that baby then?
In the interrogation, Bryant adopts a strategic approach, attempting to deflect blame onto Jason's mother, presenting himself as a true gentleman. He expresses confidence that his family, known for their loyalty, will support his version of events. However, it's crucial to recognize that these assertions unfold in response to the relentless pressure created by the detectives through their questioning and cross-examination. The detectives effectively use fear as a tool to coax Bryant into a confession, emphasizing the potential consequences he may face. Bryant's response is just what the detectives are expecting. His anger and agitation are instinctive. He tries to simplify the incident, but in doing so, he overlooks the gravity of the child's death. This confirms to the detective that they are on the correct path, and Bryant unknowingly justifies their suspicions. The detectives leverage the psychological impact of discussing potential repercussions, making Bryant uneasy. This discomfort becomes evident in the reactions. In response to this reaction, the second detective intensifies the probing, seeking more intricate information about Bryant's involvement. This shift in the interrogation dynamics reflects a strategic attempt by the detectives to exploit Bryant's vulnerabilities and get a more detailed and potentially incriminating account.
For him not to have no lumps, no bruises, no shit, what did I do? I didn't do nothing to that baby.
It didn't injure itself.
I know I didn't do nothing to that baby.
Then who do you think did?
I have no clue. I've been sitting up there telling everybody. And it's even more, it's even her close friends to her to even think she doing shit to her kids. But I'm the one that's on the chopping block for this.
So you think it's possible that he did it to himself?
No, for him to say the injuries that he sustained, how can he do it to himself?
Right. And it's
wasn't
not.
even walking.
I think you're, maybe getting the wrong. I don't know if you're getting the wrong, but whatever. We're not the ones that are saying this is the amount of force. These are the doctors that are telling us. I'm not a doctor, nor is he. All right. It's the information that's given to us. Hey, is this amount of force? Is it possible the baby fell from 18 inches? Nope, not possible at all. Okay. Is it possible that he fell down these flight of steps? No, that's not consistent with these injuries either. Just like if someone got shot in the head. All right, is this injury consistent with a gunshot? Yes, or you know what I mean. There's certain things that are consistent with injuries, and just that's where the amount of force things coming into it. That it took a good amount of force to cause these injuries, and the injuries were sustained while you were there. So any reasonable person's gonna say, okay, well then he knows what happened to the baby, and he's the one responsible for whatever happened to JCN.
I know I didn't do nothing to JCN. Every like I said, everybody can tell you. I can have family members come over there and say, damn, how don't you hear this? Kids running around doing this and doing that. I let my kids be kids. I didn't have a childhood like that. So I let them do what they gotta do. If they not sitting up there murdering each other, breaking each other, or fighting or something, then there's no need for me to step in.
So when you fall down the stairs with Jason, did you think at all, but maybe I should call 911 or bring him to the hospital, get him checked out? Did you consider doing it?
No.
Okay. Did he act normal after that?
Yeah, he was acting like his same self.
Okay. And when you called or texted his mother, like, why didn't you just bring him to the hospital instead? So when he's acting strange,
because one of the reasons, because when I sat up there and called the mama and told her that he was acting weird, she told me, don't worry about it. She was on her way, and if something was going on with him, she was gonna take him to the hospital.
I know, but if I'm watching your kids and something happens to them, I don't care about calling you. If there's something wrong with the kid, I'm gonna get him to the hospital. I'll call you after I'm there. You know what I mean? So he's getting treated. Hey, here's what's going on, man. This is what happened, and here's where we're at. I don't care what the mom has to say at that point. If it's something where it's bad enough that you feel you need to call the mom and say, hey, your kid's acting like this, why not just bring him to the hospital? Or call for an ambulance. I realize you're there watching other kids, but you can call for an ambulance. The ambulance will come transport them, if transport's an issue.
It didn't slip my mind.
Okay.
But like I said, he was crying. I didn't see no knots or bruises on his head or face or no nothing. So I was like, okay. The only time that I seen a bruise on his face was right here on his chin from when he got pushed off them damn stairs. And that was the only bruise I seen on him.
You bruised that quickly? Right off the stairs and bruised right away, or?
And I ain't seen no bruise on him all day, and I've been changing his clothes and all of that. Changing diapers and everything. Ain't noticed nothing else on him. I looked up there, I even kissed him on his cheek a couple times.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you other than what I already presented you with is what we're gonna have to go forward with.
And what the experts have documented in their report, their medical reports.
So if there's something more, like Bill said, if there's something more that slipped your mind that you didn't think about, like before when you didn't think about going down the steps.
My wife can sat there and she done brainstormed the shit out of me.
Well, it
can help.
didn't happen to, when she brainstormed you, it didn't happen to stir up the memory that you fell on the steps with him. Because, did you know that I talked to her?
Yeah.
Okay. Did she ask you about it? Did she stay by?
And I told her.
But what'd you tell her? Why didn't you tell her?
Because I forgot. And she know how I forget. After being beating your head with a spade shovel and all that shit, remember some things you forget and some things you
That's
don't.
pretty significant, though, Brian. It's pretty significant. Don't you think? I'm not being facetious here. I'm being serious. Don't you think that's kind of significant? It's quite an important piece to tell 2 weeks later, and then never tell your wife until your wife is told in November. You didn't tell your wife for almost 3 months. And then I told her.
No, actually, it was sooner than that.
No, it wasn't. I'll tell you when I talked to her. Talked to her November 7th.
Talked to her a couple different times, too.
Here I didn't.
How often do you pass out?
November 6th.
In this section, Detective Mason strategically employs logic to present facts, aiming to uncover any inconsistencies from Bryant himself. Mason questions why Bryant, as the caretaker, didn't take Jason to the hospital immediately if he was aware of the injuries. This underscores a lapse in common sense for an adult responsible for multiple children. The observation suggests that an adult lacking the understanding of when medical intervention is necessary may not be adequately equipped for caregiving responsibilities. While it may seem like victim blaming, there's a shared responsibility, raising questions about Jason's mother's level of caution in the situation. As per Child Welfare Information Gateway, factors that increase the probability of child abuse encompass a history of child abuse, substance use, mental health issues, socioeconomic stress, limited parenting skills, insufficient comprehension of childhood development, stress, and other related factors.
And nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. We're all human, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
We're all human. But when there's a mistake that's made, we gotta try to make the best out of it. All right? We gotta try to make the best out of the bad situation that it is, and try to make it into not that it could be made into a positive, but make the best of it can be, okay, for the person. And that's all we can do. That's all you can do right now. That's it. But if you lay out all the facts in the case and all of your responses in the case, it doesn't add up. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. It doesn't work. It doesn't fit. Doctors will say that kid didn't arrive injured like that. It couldn't have sustained 7 hours, 6 hours like that. There's no way. There is no way. And then, especially at what time your cousin and his girlfriend were there at several hours after Jason was dropped off. And there's just no way that he would have been able to be acting not even halfway normal, a little bit normal. It's just not possible. It's just not possible. You know, the inside it's hard for you to probably grasp it. You know why? Because there isn't so much visible outside. It's all inside. It's tough. You know? It's all inside. It's nothing you can physically see with your eyes. And it's a lot. Some people can't grasp that. I have a hard time grasping stuff like that.
Like I said, I got an autistic son with
until I see it on paper.
And I cherish him. I ain't never did nothing to him, and he's still living. And he's
thank God he's still.
And that's
living.
a baby.
Thank God he's still living. You know, and we're not here talking about your autistic son. All right, we're here talking about Jason. And his 4-year-old brother pushing him off of a step is not going to trigger or cause the amount of injury that he had. It's just, otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here talking to you if that was the case. If it was remotely possible, we're not going to go stick our necks out on the line here. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to anybody to do that. Okay? Nobody wants that. I would have been good with if they said that could have happened that way. I'd have been good with that. You never would have seen me again, Brian. You never would have seen me again. If the doctors would have told John and I that that him being pushed off of even the top step, the third step, okay? Or is it 2 or 3 total?
It's total 2.
2. Okay, he was on the first. Then there's a second one to get up to the, right? Okay, even if he was on the top step, the second step, okay? Not the first one, but the second one. If he was on that, pushed off, and the doctors would have said, you know what? He could have sustained these injuries as a result of being pushed off that step. I'd be good with that. John would be good with that. We wouldn't be sitting in here because it'd be deemed an accident. But when we're told by more than one medical professional that it's absolutely impossible that that happened that way, then how are we supposed to react? We wouldn't be doing our job, Brian. Wouldn't be doing our damn job if we were to ignore that. We'd be negligent in our job.
And then it's also crazy how you saying multiple examiners when you the one that sat up there and told me that one of them, when he first was examined, one of them said it could happen like that. And then you also told me that the other one that that's why y'all was having another one come in, and they said that there's no way that it could have happened.
I'll explain.
It's like CPS said, there's a conflict of interest.
That. Listen
there
to
was
me.
a conflict of interest and what the medical examiners were saying, because one was saying one thing and another one was saying something different.
And I'll explain.
So what is that?
Because I never said that to you, Brian. It was CPS that told you that. Okay, it wasn't me.
You sat up there and told me that y'all was having another examiner coming in to examine them because ER doctors messed up all the time. You did sit up there and tell me that.
ER doctors don't do the autopsy, Brian.
I didn't say you did the autopsy.
Okay.
I'm saying that's the one that you talked to at the hospital.
Okay, and there were the reason that there's multiple doctors there. Okay, I agree with that. ER doctors are different than pediatric doctors. Okay, ER doctors see adults. They don't specialize in children. Okay.
Yeah, and CPS was talking to the hospital and all that.
I cannot, and I won't answer for CPS.
I'm just telling you what they told me.
Okay.
Like when we went to court, like they sat up there and told the judge, there's nothing that they can really do to me right now because one medical examiner was saying this and the other one was saying something different.
You're wrong there. You're wrong. It wasn't a medical examiner. Okay. It wasn't a medical examiner. There's only one medical examiner. Okay.
Well,
you're talking about
the courts and ask them what
you're talking about the difference
told.
between the ER doctor and then the pediatrician specialist doctor. Okay, he initially came in the ambulance to the ER where a general ER doctor, a general physician saw him. He's not equipped to deal with that. So then JCN got transferred to the pediatric intensive care unit. Okay, it's called the PICU, I believe. Okay, that's where doctors that are specialized in pediatric care are a team of them oversee him, and that is who I was seeing and who I was dealing with before he passed away, before he was pronounced dead. Okay, and then they harvested his organs. I was dealing with them, and then after that, I was dealing with the pathologist who deals with him after he's dead. Okay. That's a lot different than an ER doctor. An ER doctor is just a general physician. He was not equipped to deal with this, so that's why he's immediately transferred to the PICU. All right, and that's what I'm trying to explain to you.
In this segment, two intriguing dynamics unfold. While Detective Stolzenberg tries to probe Bryant on moral grounds, it is not effective as Bryant's values and principles seem shallow so far. Further, Detective Stolzenberg presents incriminating facts pointing directly at Bryant. What makes this section particularly interesting is Bryant's attempt to employ a tactic similar to what the detectives had used on him earlier. He cross-questions Detective Stolzenberg about the reports being examined by multiple doctors, showcasing audacity and a degree of assertiveness. Bryant's audacious move to challenge the detective's information adds a layer of complexity to the interrogation. This observation underscores Bryant's attempt to shift the power dynamic in the conversation. On the other hand, Detective Stolzenberg's patience and composed response in the face of Bryant's assertiveness is noteworthy. The exchange highlights a subtle power play, with both parties attempting to assert control and influence the narrative.
Now, what CPS is talking to you about, I'm not going to answer for them, but I'm going to guess And they're talking about the damn ER doctor, but I don't know that for sure. I'm just guessing.
All the doctors. I didn't have to go to court for none of this until they talked to all the other doctors.
Okay. Well, we'll have to muddle through all that. Okay.
And
But
that's just like
I'm
they
just
say
telling
in
you.
court. That's all on records.
I'm just telling you. I'm telling you right now.
Conflicts.
I talked to the doctors.
One of them saying this, and one of them saying
I talked to the pediatrician
one saying it
doctors,
happened
and I
there,
talked to the
one saying it
pathologist.
didn't happen there.
Right, and I already gave you a rational explanation of that, and you don't want to hear it, okay? And that's not on me. That's on you. I gave you a reason why that could have happened.
Okay, now what if they ain't talking about the ER doctor?
Right.
What if they talking about these other doctors?
Then we'll have
Then
to.
what?
We have the records from every record for Jason that exists from the time he was born, okay? Up until his date of death. All right? We have everything. So there's no question. We have every record there is to have on it. All right? So if what you're saying is true, it'll be in the records. But I was not conveyed anything that no doctor told me, okay, that whatever you were saying, he could have sustained that injury from falling from 18-inch step. Didn't happen. I'm told by more than one doctor that didn't happen that way. Okay, so that's and I'm trying to be decent with you and explain to you this. I thought I was trying to be at least trying to lay this out for you and explain it.
Like you said before, if that was the case, that they said, yeah, it's possible this child died in this manner, we wouldn't be here. It's that simple.
Well, I don't know, because CPS is damn near like y'all too. They sit up there and they've been doing their investigation too. And they've been keeping in contact with a lot of close people that I know too. And like they've been telling everybody, hey, the autopsy's not really saying anything. The only thing that they have to go on is the medical examiners. Because like they said, that they'd have been took my rights from me and everything. Because the only thing that they was waiting for was the autopsy report to come back.
I mean, if you want me to speak for CPS, I can.
I know.
I mean, and same with Bill, he can't either. I don't know what CPS is telling you, why they're telling you, where they're getting their information. They sure as heck have not been talking to me, right? I haven't talked to CPS at all about this. I don't know. I don't know what they have going on with, I don't know if it's something, are you talking about they're trying to terminate parental rights to your other kids? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I don't know. I have
No,
not.
that's what I'm saying though. When we went to
Right.
court and they was asked about all that in front of the little hearing judge over there,
Yeah.
that's when they told them, well, hey,
And how long ago was this though?
what, couple months ago, like
Okay.
3 months ago,
I don't know what information they have at
like
that
they
time.
said,
you know?
like they came in there and they was talking about, yeah, well, hey, the autopsy report isn't really saying anything. So the only thing that we really have to go on is what the medical examiners are talking about.
Okay. Had the medical examiner's report been done at that point in time?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know what reports
What
were
date?
available.
What date?
You said like 3-4 months ago. I don't know what reports were available to them at that time. I don't. And still, it's.
We need
I guess it's
to-
kind of.
They kept.
It's
Every
not.
time I talked to them, they was waiting on him.
It's not,
Yeah.
it's not
The
overwhelmingly.
CPS people was waiting on you
Yep.
to get them copies of the to let them see the autopsy report.
And I was waiting on pathologists.
Yeah, and like they came and they said, well, hey, the autopsy report isn't really saying anything.
Because it was a preliminary one. The final one was done, I believe, in October. Let's see. Let's see if I can't tell by this, decipher this. I didn't interrupt you, John.
No, you're fine. I'm just trying to explain to them the best I can about.
Yeah.
But it's hard to try to rationalize for someone else. I don't know what CPS had going on,
Right.
what they're reading. It's not.
And unfortunately, we don't really know their process, do we?
Well, no, just because we work somewhat in conjunction with each other, but we, they do their job, we do ours. So I can't speak for them.
there a way I can have a cigarette because I'm finna go to jail anyway?
I'll be honest with you.
You can't let me smoke a cigarette now?
It'll have to be in the next room. It can't be in this room. We'll have to put you in another room later because I can't do it anymore. I can't sit and smoke.
Yeah, I know.
I've done it for too
I
long.
remember you said you can't.
Remember that? Yeah, I told you I would. I let you do that before, didn't I?
Yeah,
In another room.
right.
Yeah. I can slap you in another room. I don't have a problem with it.
Cigarettes.
Huh?
Because the other officer that brought me up here has my cigarettes and everything.
Oh, they're here.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have to give you a stale one.
No, you don't.
Oh,
Give me a cigarette.
all right. Yeah, let's do that. You don't mind, do you, John?
Oh, okay.
Unless you want to sit here and smoke with him.
No.
You can say he can have a cigarette too if he wants.
Hello. I appreciate it. I'm a spoon.
No, but literally, I am a. All the kids love me. All the kids, not just my kids. I got nieces and nephews and everything, all and little cousins who all want to come to my house.
You know what? And I'm not going to sit here and say that that's not true. It may be, but something happened that day. Something happened that caused that child to die. And you're the grown-up that was there, so you know what it was.
That's the point. I don't know what it was because the incidents that happened is the first one that was the one that happened with me earlier that day.
Which one's
And
that?
then the one I fell down, that passed out and fell down the stairs with him.
Okay.
And then the one with his brother pushing him off the stairs. That's the only incidents that I know that happened at my house. I can even sit up there and been locked up for the last 3 months, sitting up there like brainstorming my goddamn self to see what, Junior, you sure that's all that happened? Is you sure? And there's nothing else that's running. And then everybody sitting up here, I'm getting phone calls from everybody talking about, hey, well, if you need us to come to court, you need my kids to come to court. Hey, we all willing to come testify on your behalf. Because it's kids that's not related to me that wants to be at my house. Because I let kids do so much.
I don't know if he's giving you your cigarette, actually.
That's why I said I got more than 50 some people who's willing to vouch for me.
Let me go find your stuff. You want to come over here? We'll hop into the bit of it.
Throughout the interrogation, Detective Mason maintains a calm demeanor, primarily observing while Detective Stolzenberg engages with Bryant. However, Detective Mason consistently intervenes to temper Bryant's assertiveness by posing rational questions. Whenever Bryant attempts to establish dominance, Detective Mason takes charge, confronting him with incriminating questions, or highlighting the misalignment of his narratives with the available evidence and reports. In this final clip, despite not obtaining a confession, it becomes evident that Bryant has resigned himself to the idea of going to jail. Yet as a last resort, he attempts to defend himself. Given Bryant's behavior and personality, it was anticipated that he would deny any involvement. However, the detectives in this interrogation have made substantial observations that could serve as crucial evidence in court. These observations not only hold the potential to implicate Bryant as the perpetrator, but could also be grounds for a more extended sentence. On February 28, 2018, Bryant was arrested on 1 count of felony murder and 1 count of first-degree child abuse. Initially found guilty by a 12-member jury on November 21, 2019 of first-degree murder and 1 count of first-degree child abuse, Bryant was sentenced to life in prison without parole on December 16, 2019. In December 2020, Bryant was granted a new trial due to his attorney, Keith Turple, being found to have provided ineffective counsel, thereby denying Bryant his 6th and 14th Amendment rights. The court determined that Turple failed to make sufficient efforts to secure the assistance of a medical expert specializing in abusive head trauma, the cause of J.C. and Downey's death. Bryant later pleaded no contest on November 28, 2022, a week before a jury trial was scheduled to start. On January 3, 2023, he was sentenced to 12.5 to 40 years in prison by Kalamazoo County Circuit Judge Paul Bridenstine. Despite the judge granting him credit for 5 years in prison, the sentencing raises concerns about justice for the baby, who tragically didn't have the opportunity to experience a fair portion of life.
I trusted him in his care. I should have been able to pick my son up that night, but then happy, healthy, and living baby he was. Instead, you failed. You failed to keep my son safe. You failed me. You are sick in the head, and I hope you suffer fully in prison, mentally and physically every day, because that's what you deserve. My son will be 11 months old forever, and that's all I have left of him. It's pictures and memories and videos and dreams I may have here and there when I should still have my son. I wish you opposite of the best and you enjoy.
As we wrap up this intense interrogation journey, it makes you think about how tricky it is to find the truth. The detectives did their best to uncover the lies, but it also raises some big questions. How well does the legal system handle cases which are children and where things aren't always straightforward? How can skilled detectives employ their tactics when dealing with such arrogant, remorseless, and aggressive suspects as Bryant? Lastly, what can we learn from this case about making sure justice is served even when evidence is not enough? What do you think could have been done differently to serve justice to the little baby? Add your thoughts and more case suggestions in the comment section below. If you want us to cover more such cases, like, share, and subscribe to our channel.